Yes, we are.
All right, let's go ahead and you let me know when we can start.
Madam Chair, you are all set and ready to go.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Human and Community Services Committee meeting for Monday, May 2024. Thank you for joining us. For council members, we have Councilor Barry Walters and Councilor Mary Fay, in addition to myself. And we also have with us on the call, Town Manager Rick Ledwith, Library Director Laura Ermshire, and Director of Leisure Services, Helen Rubino-Turco, and we also have Jerida Reinheimer with us. So thank you everybody for joining us. For business items, we will start with 2A, approval of the minutes of March 19 and April 17, 2024. Can I have a motion?
That's so moved.
Thank you, Councilor Walters, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Fay. Any discussion?
No, they look great.
Oh, I agree. I will try your minds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. And I'd like to welcome Councilor Carol Blanks. Thanks for joining us this evening. We'll move on to item 2B. This is a resolution for emergency food and shelter program. It's a FEMA grant, and I will turn it over to our town manager, Rick Ledwith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it's okay with the committee, would it be okay if we moved our library director up front? She has a library board meeting at 6:30.
Yes, without objection, we will rearrange the agenda order. So we'll come back to this item.
Thank you so much.
Sure. And let's move on then to item 4A, the library update.
Good evening. Thank you so much for accommodating my schedule tonight. I really appreciate
Sure.
it. I am pleased to be with you this evening to give you some updates on the library. At our last meeting, I gave you a brief overview of our new strategic plan. And so tonight I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we've been working on since then. We have posted the plan on our website, and we have a forum where the public can comment on it. And we've been receiving some comments, some new ideas from people or reacting to the plan. And that's going to be kind of a permanent part of our website so we can continue to hear from people as we work on this plan. We are forming staff committees around the initiatives. So if you recall, we have 5 strategic initiatives in our plan, and we're forming a staff committee for each initiative. I'm happy to say that we have both full and part-time staff on our committees. All of our full-time staff are on it, and we have 7 part-time staff who have also joined. And they are going to be working on prioritizing the ideas that were generated from all of the feedback, all of the conversations, everything that went into the plan. What the committees are looking at is they're investigating resources on how we can act on these ideas. They're thinking about how we can implement things successfully without overtaxing our resources and our staff. We already have a lot of great things going on, so we don't want to overload anyone or miss out on opportunities because we're maybe doing too many things too quickly. So we're thinking about this as a 4-year plan, how we can successfully implement these things at a pace that is reasonable for our staff and that the public can be open to so they can learn about the new opportunities. Another very important consideration is we're thinking about how we can measure our success or our impact on any changes that we make, and wanting to make sure that we have that lined up from the beginning so we can do kind of a before and after comparison to see what is working for the community and what we might want to come back to. And just to give you some examples of some things that we've already put into action, our second initiative is increasing awareness of library services. We heard a lot from folks that because the library offers so many things, they're not aware of a lot of it. They maybe are focused on the thing they use us for, but don't know there's something completely different that they might want to take advantage of. So we've added a Did You Know section to our newsletter. This goes out in email every Wednesday night. It has a huge open rate. We know people look at this a lot. So we've added in things like letting people know about our local author shelf, where we highlight West Hartford authors. Our SCORE Mentoring, which is a nonprofit organization that gives free mentoring services to business owners or people who are thinking about becoming business owners. And we have a New Yorker discussion group that meets every Friday and gathers together to discuss the contents of the New Yorker magazine. So these are just examples of things that have been established in the library, but might be going on under people's radar. So it's a way to remind them of things that they might want to take advantage of. And then the second part of that initiative is reaching new users. And this is where we're really going to be spending more time out in the community and connecting with people who don't come to the library or maybe aren't aware of what we have to offer. This summer we'll be very busy. We have a booth at Celebrate West Hartford, and we'll be looking for other community events to join in on. And in July, we have our second annual Bookworm Fest. This is going to be an opportunity for us to attract a lot of people from the fantasy and role-playing world who might not know about the library, and use a big event to help draw them in and let them know about our services. Our third initiative is supporting our staff, and we're working on developing a new and improved staff intranet site that will help us to improve communication among our staff and give them the tools that they need to do their job successfully. And our fourth initiative is building more responsive and inclusive collections and services. And one of the things we've started with Promote Pradhan's leadership is we recently formed a translation and foreign language book recommendation committee. This is a committee that's made up of library staff and community members, and they currently have representation of 7 languages. That's Spanish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, Mandarin, Nepalese, Korean, and Arabic. And their main role is to review translations that are done for the library. They helped us with some of our strategic plan translations, and they're ensuring accuracy and cultural relevance in all provided materials. They'll convene regularly to assess ongoing translation needs, and they're also going to talk about strategies for enhancing language accessibility of the library. So we're really excited to have this plan in place. I'll be reporting back to you regularly on what we're working on, and stay tuned as we bring all those ideas to life. I have a few more quick updates for you. This summer, we'll have another round of Facts and Fun. This is a 4-week camp-like series of programs for children in grades 1 through 6. Funding for this program is generously provided by the Stanley D. and Hinda N. Fisher Fund of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. For the children in grades 1 through 3, they'll attend from July 8th through the 18th, and grades 4 through 6 will attend from July 2nd to August 22nd, to August 1st. So through Facts and Fun, the kids will get to experience literacy, STEM activities, arts and crafts, robotics, outdoor and indoor gameplay, board games, music, and so much more. This is really the highlight of the summer for Faxon, and the kids have such a great time. We had in-person registration at Faxon Library, and all the slots were filled up the first night. We currently have a few kids on the wait list, and we're going to see how that unfolds and see if we can get them in too. Our Mayor's Youth Council is accepting applications for next year. This is the advisory group made up of 9th through 12th grade students in West Hartford. They meet twice a month from September through May to plan and facilitate community impact projects. Applications are available on the library's website, and they're due by May 31st. We're excited to partner with Municipal Parking for the spring banner contest. So we often do banner contests with them to feature different pictures or drawings or art entries that are hung on all of the light posts in the West Hartford Center. And this year's theme is Pets in the Great Outdoors. So we invite anyone to submit a picture of their pet who's outside, whether it's cute, silly, sassy, or anything else that shows why we love our pets so much. And I just have to say, the new highlight of my job is coming into work and asking for the new entries we've received, because I get to see all of the cute pets in West Hartford, and it's so much fun. So those submissions are due by May 31st also, and we're looking forward to hanging those banners, and we'll probably do some sort of collage in the library if there's an overflow that we can't put on all the banners because the pets are so cute. Next up, is Carol Waxman's work as part of the Collaborative Summer Library Program. So this is a nonprofit organization that supports literacy, education, and science through summer reading events in public libraries across the United States. Carol is the chair of the Child and Community Wellbeing Committee, which is a subgroup of this organization. And as that role, she's highlighted several of the West Hartford programs that we've implemented here. She's given presentations and brought in her colleagues from the library on Facts and Fun and our Fern Street Backpack program. And she's sharing this with libraries across the country. And Carol recently heard from a library in Michigan that's planning to implement a similar program on Facts and Fun, and they're working on a food distribution plan also. So it's really an honor to have our programs discussed and hear how other libraries are learning from us and building on our success. And I wanted to share some upcoming programs we have. Our third annual Gertrude Blank storytelling event is happening on June 11th at 6:30 at First Church in West Hartford. It's right next to the Noah Webster Library. The theme this year is your journey, your story, and we're inviting you to join 3 local storytellers as they share their journeys from their country of origin to how they came to be part of our community. The stories are going to be followed by a Q&A, light refreshments, and conversation. We have a fun event for the whole family. This is a puzzle dash. This is our first foray into speed puzzle competition. I learned about it when we started planning this program, and I'm very excited to have this here. We will host teams of 4 members who will compete for prizes to complete a 500-piece puzzle in the shortest time. And this is open to ages 12 and up. And you do need to register ahead of time to make sure we have space for you. For our children's programs, we have a Pride Storytime planned June 5th at 10:30 here at the Noah Webster Meeting Room. And families with preschool children can join us for stories, songs, a heart craft, and a snack. And our Bishop's Corner branch is having their annual ice cream social. This one's on June 21st at 11 a.m. And this is an annual kickoff of the summer, welcoming everybody into the library and getting ready for the excellent weather ahead. And I just want to close out with a story that really touched me. We have a patron who comes into our library regularly. I usually see him on Monday mornings on my reference shift, and he uses a lot of our technology for job searching and applying to jobs. And he came in and let our staff know that he recently got a job that he applied to, and that we're not going to see him as much anymore. And I've never been so happy to have someone not come into the library. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Does anybody have any questions?
May I, Ms.
Yes.
Poland? Chair
Go for
Poland.
it.
Amazing update, incredible. I guess I'm a book nerd. I've always loved my town library. Raymond Library was our town library. And then we had a branch in my high school, Penny High School, and I spent a lot of time in them. It's more of a comment and compliment than a question, but then a suggestion. Our libraries are fantastic. They're unreal. And as a young, well, I wasn't young, but my kid was young. As a mother, I spent a lot of time in the library with Katie, and I hadn't been in a while because now I do my library stuff online. So Libby's great and the other things, but I did go into the library because my card wasn't working. And you talk about refreshing the programs and keeping up to date and having everything sparkle. I was surprised because I hadn't been in there for a while. So kudos to you and great job. Is there anything, if you had a magic wand, that you would ask? I know everybody's budget was lean this year, and thank you for accommodating that request. But is there something that you really think would make our libraries even better? I can't envision that because I think they're fantastic, but I was just wondering from your perspective, what do you dream about at night that you would really like to have? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fay.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's the best question. Thank you. I agree. I think our libraries are fantastic. One thing that I'm thinking about and our strategic planning team is thinking about is the layout of our physical spaces, especially here at Noah Webster. And we want everyone to feel welcome when they walk in. And our layout for this library is a little bit outdated. When you walk in, you see a big desk with a barrier, you see DVDs, which aren't our most popular thing. And you really have to kind of come in to see people. And I want people to be front and center, whether it's the library staff welcoming you or you seeing the activity happening in the library. So if I had a magic wand, I would replace the building with this newly designed, but yet honoring the historical with less columns and pillars. But short of magic, we are working on some exciting plans that we will try to figure out what resources we need to maybe get some different shelving, redesign spaces, kind of configure pathways so that when you walk in, you just feel the hug of the library, like that you want to be here, that we want you here, and you can find what you want or discover maybe things you didn't know we had.
Great answer. I know we're limited with our physical plants, and there's obviously the long-term capital plans, but are there sort of smaller steps that we can take to get to your ideal, dream about the libraries? I'm just a big support. I love libraries. I really do. I love touring them. I love going to them in different cities. They're vitally important in terms of the community and sharing and learning. But is there like sort of a interim step that we can take to kind of start realizing that dream?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. There is. So certainly with the Faxon Library, when we work on the new Library Community Center, I think we're going to realize a lot of our dreams in that project. And here for the main library, there are steps that we can take, and we're in kind of the beginning stages of what that looks like. We have brainstorming sessions with our staff about, well, if we moved this here, or if we relocated this collection and maybe opened up this space. So I do think that there are much less drastic physically steps we can take that can make a big impact. And I'm hoping that I can come back to you and tell you about some of our ideas soon.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much. I know you have another meeting to get to, so have a great night and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since we're already doing our staff reports, I'm going to move on to Helen next. And then after this report, we'll jump back up to the earlier part of the agenda, if that's okay with everybody here. So I will turn it over now to Helen for our Human Services Committee update for Leisure and Social Services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will skip over the things that we're going to talk about in a minute. And just give a brief rundown of the fine work that's going on in our social services department right now. As you may know, the Rotary Club delivered a donation of about $10,000 worth of food last week for the food pantry. This is a huge boost for the summer. It should hold us down for certainly through the summer, part of the summer. That's when we receive a lot less donations generally. And so this boost is really helpful to help us meet the needs, particularly in June and July. Also held recently was the inaugural Veterans Resource Fair. It was held on May 11th in West Hartford Town Hall. It was really successful. A steady stream of people, veterans and their families, about 150 people came. And also it was a very diverse group of representatives from the different agencies in the town and in the community that provide valuable resources and information. So I'm sure that we'll be holding it again, but very, very great collaboration with our Veterans Affairs Committee. And in keeping in that vein, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We are a little more than halfway through. And we continue to work on really exciting collaborations with Elmwood Community Center, with our senior centers, the library, with our Prevention Council, as well as the West Hartford Prevention Partnership, which is sort of the action agency of the council. And we're really doing a lot of different activities. There's a whole host of calendar of events that is posted on our website. I just wanted to highlight one or two. One is tomorrow at the Bishop's Corner Senior Center, we're having a medication safety for older adults seminar. We have Dr. Sean Jeffrey from UConn School of Pharmacy is going to discuss safe storage and consumption of medication, how to keep medicine safe from others. It's a free event. As I said, it is tomorrow from 11 to 12:30 at the Bishop's Corner Senior Center on Starkville Road. Also tomorrow, we have a tenants' rights educational seminar. This is put on by Greater Hartford Legal Aid. And it's at Elma Community Center tomorrow late afternoon. It is from 5:30 to 7. And we're co-sponsoring this event, and it's going to feature an attorney who works at Greater Hartford Legal Aid. You may or may not know that Greater Hartford Legal Aid is a not-for-profit law office that provides free civil legal services to low-income people and seniors in the Hartford area. And they've been a wonderful resource for us. We do support them with some of our CDBG funding, and they really help provide community legal education to empower people to know their rights and to advocate for themselves. And this is also because there have been so many changes in the law that even some landlords don't know what the new laws are. So this seminar is really, it's great for tenants' rights. It's also good for landlords to learn what the latest information is. And then I also wanted to let you know that in the coming year, we will be developing our next 5-year consolidated plan for community development block grant funding. This will cover us from our fiscal year starting July 1st through June 30th, 2030. So the bid for this consulting, we typically hire a consulting company to help us through this very involved project. And that bid is on our website now. More to come on that, but this process is really how we determine the priorities for CDBG funding. So we reach out to many of our stakeholders, the Citizens with Disabilities Commission, the Senior Citizens Advisory Commission, also various entities, and we have a number of open public hearings and encourage the community comment. That is it for social services. Are there any questions on social services before I move to leisure?
Thank you. Are there questions from committee members? I just want to say 2030. Wow. Seems like a really long time from now. And I do want to thank you. I know how complicated the process is to pull together the 5-year plan for CDBG or Community Development Block Grant, and appreciate the hard work that goes into that on behalf of our town, and just thinking through the various priorities and receiving all of that input. And hopefully we will have robust input on that, do everything we can to get the word out about it. So thank you for all your work on that.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure you have a lot to tell us on the leisure services side as we're heading into the summer. So I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you. I will start with the obvious one, which is Celebrate West Hartford. It is coming June 8th and 9th. It's around the corner. We are looking for volunteers. It takes about 1,000 volunteer hours to run this community event. And everything from setup on Friday to manning information booths, parking assistance, monitoring the festival tent and everything like that. We also have Sunday morning is the 5K race, as well as the kids fun run. There's a reception afterwards. So we are always looking for assistance there. And then later on Sunday, of course, is the takedown, collecting all the signs, packing up supplies, helping the exhibitors figure out how to get their stuff out in a safe manner. You can sign up, you can send an email to celebratevolunteers@westhartfordct.gov. That will get you connected to Linda Geisler, the event manager. And you can also go to the town's website under Leisure Services to check out the volunteer opportunities brochure for Celebrate West Hartford. We're really, as I think I've mentioned before, we have our presenting sponsors, People's Bank. We have a number of different sponsors that have returned, and our schedule of events is really firmed up. And so we have a lot of school bands performing on Saturday. We have 3 professional bands performing on Sunday, one of which has a real West Hartford connection. So we're happy to be able to pull in some of our homegrown talent as well. And I think the most important aspect, as I think I mentioned before, is that we have a new road race route. So it features the Trout Brook Trail on the return. So you run up North Main Street just before Asylum. You take a right, and then you run down on the Trout Brook Trail. So we're really excited to showcase that.
By my house. It runs right by my house. That's so. I know it's not my turn, but I just have to say this is an outstanding event. You guys do an amazing job, and what I really, really like about it is that what Celebrate West Hartford is not during the fair season. We are competing with a million things and in the fall and things like that. It's unique. It happens at a unique time of year, and it's amazing. But my question would be, how much does it cost us for safety for the police and fire and stuff like that to be on hand?
Through you, Madam Chair, happy to address that. So it is certainly takes a tremendous amount of effort on behalf of our police department and fire department to ensure everybody's safety. And there will be a number of officers on site that'll be visible to folks that are attending the 2-day event. And then behind the scenes, we have you'll see a presence above Celebrate as well. If you were to look up on top of our roof or on top of the garage, and we have drones as well. So it's in kind services. It's not, the police department isn't billing the human and community or leisure and social services department. But we will, it's a huge event, and we will do everything we have to ensure everybody's safety. But there will be a strong public safety presence.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Back over to you, Alan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to report that our pools we're planning to open our pools on June 15th. That's at Fernridge Park, Beachland, Kennedy, and Eisenhower. We do expect the Eisenhower pool house to be ready in time for pool season. And then after pool season is over is when they will renovate the pool itself. So they've been working on the bathhouse right now, and it's going very well. I just wanted to remind you, there are 3 ways to access our outdoor pools. One is if you're a member of Cornerstone, you can access it through your membership. You can also pay a daily fee at the entrance at any of the pools. They accept cash or credit cards. And you can also purchase a punch card in advance in order to, these are in increments of 10, 20, or 50 swim packs. And these passes are available for West Hartford residents only, and they're available for purchase through Cornerstone's Rec Desk account. So we both use Rec Desk, but Cornerstone manages our outdoor pools. So to purchase these, you go to cornerstone.recdesk.com and have a separate account at Cornerstone. A lot of things happening also in June coming up we have summer camps are opening. About 12 of them begin the week of June 17th, which is right after school gets out. But most of the camps, 30 plus camps, start the week of June 24th. So there's a lot of activity. You'll see a lot of activity in our parks, whether they're the Camp Fantastic or whether they're a sports camp or a specialty camp. I also wanted to bring you up to date on a couple of ecology, sustainability related projects. We are in support of our sustainable CT application for the Next Level Up, our silver level sponsorship. Silver level. The Tree Action Group we're recommending that they serve the role as a forestry advisory committee. And we're looking at what the mechanism is to designate that. Some towns do it just as a memorandum of understanding, because this is a kind of a loose group of community members that are in the tree action group. But sustainable CT allows municipalities to utilize and to partner with community groups. So we're excited about that. And I also wanted to just thank you, Madam Chair, and Town Manager for attending the recent ribbon cutting for Westmore Park's Level 2 Arboretum certification that was back on Arbor Day on April 27th. And what you may not know is that there are only 3 Level 2 arboretums in the state. We are one of them. We're the only one in Hartford County. The accreditation is rather stringent, and I do want to acknowledge the wonderful efforts of our volunteer Bill Gleason, as well as Doug Jackson and his staff and members of the Tree Action Group that really helped make this happen. And in the same vein, this group, the Tree Action Group, through the West Hartford Tree Project, which is a subset of it, had their 4th annual tree distribution day on April 28th. They distributed 1,600 plants. They were either seedlings or potted plants, including 13 native species. This was all distributed free to the public. So that was pretty exciting. And we also have some ongoing capital projects that I'm just going to remind you of. Softball dugouts are going to be installed at Sterling Field and at Norfolk Field this summer. That's a combination of ARPA funding and other funding. And then the Walcott restroom, which is our next big project, has been awarded, and that construction company will begin very soon. And also the Rockledge driving range is beginning to take shape. The first task was to fix the retaining wall. So they've replaced that retaining wall. That job is complete. We're now bringing utilities to the site, and we're going to be posting an RFP for the building envelope, the construction of the building envelope. So that will be an exciting step forward. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions on leisure services before we turn to the 4 items for resolutions.
Great, thank you so much for that comprehensive report. What questions do town council members have? Councilor Walters?
Thank you through you, Madam Chair. I don't have necessarily any questions. I just want to acknowledge that there seems to be a lot going on, and it's all great stuff. And yeah, don't pull your hair out, Helen. And thank you for the update. I'm looking forward to all of these things that are in the pipeline coming to fruition.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question, Helen. Do we know, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot this way, I didn't send this question ahead of time and prepare you. Do you have any idea how many children we have participating in our camps this summer? Like how many unique kids there are?
I don't have that number, but I can certainly look that up for you. I do know that I did kind of start a count of like how many camps are we running on consistently on a week by week, and after about 30 per week, it was pretty astonishing to me. Many of our popular camps are sold out, particularly Westmore Park and our camps at Elma Community Center. Jamie has done a wonderful job. Jamie Krajewski, the facility supervisor there, has done a great job really understanding the pulse of the community and what people are looking for. So it's a combination of daycare and the toddler programs, but also really great programs for kids that utilize different aspects. Sometimes it's arts and crafts, sometimes it's theater, sometimes it's physical games. So she's really figured it out and has done a great job, but I don't have the total registrations. I'm sorry, but I can get back to you on that.
It's totally fine. I just think it would be interesting to see. And when I say unique, if Barry Walters is registered for 3 weeks, he's still one person. So I'm just trying to get a sense of how many kids we're touching through our camps this summer. No rush on that. Any other questions?
I registered for them all.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
No, and I just wanted to apologize, Helen. If I think of something, if I wait till the very end, I lose it. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. So I was just very interested in what you were saying. So when I asked my question, it was only because it was top of mind. So thank you for that.
No problem.
All right, excellent. We are going to then now jump back up to the business items on the agenda. So we're going to go back up to item 2B. This is the resolution for Emergency Food and Shelter Program FEMA grant. And now I'll turn it back over to Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we do have 4 resolutions, as you just stated. We will take them one by one, but I just want to quickly summarize the 4 and then turn things over to Helen to give a brief summary. 3 of these 4 resolutions will be on the next council agenda. So we have the first one, which is the Emergency Food and Shelter Grant, which is a small FEMA grant that we received. Another one for the use of opioid funds to purchase a Manikin used for training purposes. And the third would be to amend our CDBG budget by $1,100. The 4th resolution, which won't be on the May 28th agenda, is we will hold a public hearing for our Neighborhood Assistance Tax Act credit program, and we will hold that public hearing on June 25th. And on the draft of the resolution in your packet, it does say June 11th, but we'll move that to June 25th. And through you, Madam Chair, I'll turn things over to Helen again to give a quick summary on these items.
Great. And just before we do that, for the committee's clarification, do we vote on these, or we're just kind of getting a briefing of them and then they're going to go on the town council agenda or for the public hearing?
Correct. Yeah. So they will be, we'll discuss them tonight, and then you will vote on these, the 3 resolutions on May 28th, and then the 4th one would be on June 25th.
But not tonight.
Not tonight. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Ellen?
Very good. Thank you. So the Emergency Food and Shelter Program is a FEMA funded program to supplement the ongoing work of municipalities and nonprofit organizations to provide shelter, food, and supportive services to people who are experiencing hunger or at risk of experiencing hunger. In Hartford County, these funds are administered by United Way. And for the 2nd year in a row, our Social Services Department applied for and was awarded a small grant of $4,500 to help residents at risk of homelessness to pay for expenses related to mortgage, rent, or metered utilities. Last year, we were able to help 4 residents avoid homelessness through this grant. And so we have prepared a resolution for your review, and it will be voted on at the May 28th council meeting, as Mr. Ledwith said. The second one is, and I'm just going in order of the agenda, is the Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program. This is something that the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services asks us to advertise, to solicit projects from local nonprofits who then submit them to the Department of Revenue Services for inclusion in the program. So businesses that make donations towards these projects receive state tax credits in return. We are not, the town isn't donating funds. The town is not funding these nonprofit organizations. Businesses are supporting them, but in exchange, they get a tax credit. Our role is to advertise it and to approve of the programs. We sort of verify, yes, these nonprofits are working in our community. Yes, this is an eligible activity, and we support it by giving them the rubber stamp. So those will come to, HUD does require that we hold a public hearing. Department of Revenue Services requires a public hearing to be held before we okay the programs. And so that's why it is held just before the town council meeting, at which time you vote for your recommendation. The third program is related to the opioid settlement funds that the town has received. So far, we've received a little over $300,000 from these settlement funds. Already in this fiscal year, the town has allocated about $59,000 for a part-time prevention coordinator and for the outreach programs that that coordinator is doing. But we have received a new allocation, a new request for an allocation. It is an eligible request. The fire department has been working in partnership with the West Harbor Public Schools to do some emergency medical responder training in the high schools. And they are requesting a simulation mannequin to train the students and other emergency responders and to supplement other community opioid overdose trainings. It gave me pause. I learned a new way of spelling mannequin. But the Manikin spelled M-A-N-I-K-I-N is different from the other Manikin that has the Q-U-I-N. This Manikin is a life-sized, anatomically correct human model. It's used in education. And a mannequin, the other one, is a dollar a statue that is used in a clothing store. So that's why it's spelled differently. It's actually a different thing. This is the cost, this purchase is $22,000. It's an eligible expense. And so that will be on your agenda on May 28th. And the final one is HUD allocated, let me start again. Every year, the Department of Housing and Urban Development allocates funding to the town of West Hartford through CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant. They don't tell us what the amount is, the specific number, until after, most of the time, until after our budget is already adopted. So we use last year's number as the estimate. And this year, they have increased their allocation to West Hartford by $1,118 from last year. So it's basically about the same amount of money. But we do need to have a resolution to accept and allocate these additional funds. So that will also take place on May 28th. Typically, we get around $950,000 to $990,000 at this point, and it's used for a variety of projects to assist low-income and very low-income families in West Hartford. And those are the 4 items that we needed to discuss. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Are there questions from any of the counselors on the call? Counselor Blanks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't want to go before any of the committee members. Thank you, Helen. I just have a quick question for you regarding those grant funds, and just wanted to know, based on the town's funding request and your award that you receive, do you feel that it meets the growing needs of the town? And how does one learn about the services? And I have a follow-up question to that one as well.
Great, thank you, Counselor Blanks. Helen?
Is this about the CDBG funding?
No, it's regarding, oh, hold on. Not this.
I think this would be the FEMA funding for to help
EFSP
people who are at risk of eviction or homelessness.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay,
Madam
very
Chair.
Thank you. We use these funds to augment the work we're already doing. So the town employs a lot of different creative ways of supporting ALICE households, low-income households, or people who are at risk of experiencing hunger. So this is typically done through our food pantry. We also utilize funding from the Town That Cares. So that is for an emergency situation where someone needs a little bit of help to get to a certain point. We're very much about empowering people to help themselves. And so also what we spend a lot of time doing is helping connect them with other providers. So getting them the help they need from other sources. So we are not necessarily funding everything, but we're searching on their behalf for funding. This is a small amount of funding. As I said, last year, we received this grant of $4,500 and we were able to help 4 residents. So that's basically $1,000 per family that we were able to give out. But we also augment this with our own funding, or we connect them with other resources.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, do we keep a database anywhere in terms of residents who we're assisting and how we connect them to other services? And do you find over the years that number is growing? How do we track that? Thank you.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. We keep statistics on everything. Statistics do help tell the story. And what you do see in your budget book sometimes is sort of a roadmap of some of those statistics that we keep, but we write an annual report that helps where we track growth or change in the needs of or in the success of these programs. So for example, we track the families that come to the food pantry. We track the dollar amount of the food pantry, but we also track the monies that we are able to garner on their behalf through energy assistance or through rent rebate or through the veterans programs. So all of that information is tracked and maintained. And I'm happy to go through that at some point if you'd like, just to kind of give you an overview. Maybe after this fiscal year is complete, maybe that's something we could do, you know, in the fall, would be to look at, these are the programs, these are the stats that we keep.
Thank you. All set, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Blanks. Other questions? Okay, thank you. I think we have a good understanding of the resolutions that are going to come before us, and with the amendment to the resolution for the Neighborhood Assistance Act program to move that public hearing to June 25th. Thank you for doing that. We can feel comfortable moving forward with these.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go to item 5, future agenda items. Do people have great requests for future agenda items? Councilor Fay or Councilor Walters?
I do, Ms. Poulin. I think it's something that I had mentioned earlier, and I did talk to the town manager about this. Just for preparation and, well, maybe, I'm glad Carol's on this call. Maybe this should be brought up to public safety. But do we have some sort of planning for infrastructure, fire, or police? And again, this is not a political statement. This is not a anti-humanitarian statement on my behalf. But for the influx of people that we may or may not get from being a sanctuary state and sanctuary cities all around us, just for public safety. So I maybe I'm bringing it in the wrong form, but I know I did mention that, Deb, earlier in a former meeting. But I think we sort of kind of have to be prepared, as we've seen, you know, the poor folks in Israel. I mean, these things can happen in a heartbeat. So I'd like to have that discussed, because I'm aware there's a plan, but I don't think that we're knowledgeable about it.
So hear that and appreciate it. I guess I have a question then for Helen, which is, when people come forward to our social services department, depending on the program they're applying for, are we even asking immigration status, or is it mostly about income, family size, and need?
Thank you. Great question. Our mandate is to help residents. So we do, our first question is, what's your address? right? So because we are the town of West Hartford, so our mandate is to help West Hartford residents. And if someone is connected, for example, a family might move in and they have children in our public schools, and we said, we have a new family, they've just been registered at such and such elementary. So we will work with the schools and the school social worker and the school resources also to help those families. So that's sort of our first way. We do have a database that is secure for us, where we keep track of our clients as well as the social services. So both parts, the community partnerships keeps their database, and the social workers also. And so we keep great records on the families and the individuals that we're helping.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think, the challenge, Counselor Fay, is we don't know whether we're going to get an influx of people moving in from New York, like we did during COVID, or an influx of people moving in from a foreign country just because they have family here, or perhaps are asylees or refugees, or we're not going to get an influx at all. So this is the kind of situation where I think we tend to be a little bit planful, but the reality is that most of our town programs are open to anybody in town. It's a little different than some of the federal programs, which are more restrictive. So I think, to the extent that we can plan for any additional population growth in our town, regardless of what that growth is, we should be looking at that across all of our committees and not necessarily focused in on where the population is coming from and why, but just trying to meet their needs. Does that help address your concern?
Well, I guess you're in favor of open borders, which I am not, but no, it doesn't really, but I'm fine. Let's move on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't think this is the proper forum for that. So we can, happy to talk with you offline about that. Are there any other requests for future agenda items? Okay, if not, it is 6:54, and without objection, the meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank